Hello again, YouTube, and welcome to my little video segment here on my hydroponic garden. This is just at a month. I'm not quite there yet. I planted on August the 16th, and today is September the 12th. So I have a month of growth from the time that I planted the seeds, which I think you're going to see it's really amazing what some of the plants have done. Some of them haven't done well at all, but I'm going to take you through them, starting first here with my radish. Okay, this is my radish right after I picked it. It still has the vermiculate on the hairs of the roots. This is it when I got it finished and cleaned. It was a nice sized radish. We cut it open, looked for see if it had any pethiness. It was good, solid, and crisp. It actually had a very pleasant flavor. It wasn't too hot like the ones that we picked out from our regular garden. Now, aside from the radish, I've had a couple of other incidents since the last time I put up a video. One is the tomatoes. I didn't take any pictures or video of them. They continue to grow really well as far as the fruits go. The plant, however, continues to die. I'm sure part of it's from that shock, and part of it is that the energy is going into the fruit. The fruit have actually improved. They're getting less and less of the sun scald. They're continuing to grow in size, and the production overall is okay. It's not great, mainly because of that shock that I did earlier. As well, the bean plant, which I'm going to show you a couple pictures from right now. I actually ended up just pulling the bean plant out. It produced one bean pod, and I'll show you some pictures from it. They're not real good, but I'll explain the best I can with it, and you can see where I failed with it. Okay, what I've got here is the bean plant that we pulled out. It had a silvery grayish fungus on it with small webs, like some sort of an insect, but there were no visible insects on it. It actually got like almost a pepper look to it. Even the plant, even the fruit itself, as you can see in this bean on my ring finger, you can see the little dots where the fungus was. So I decided to just start fresh. Taking a piece of coir, which is your coconut fiber they use in planters, cut off a small section. I'm going to put that down inside of the planter with clay pebbles to hold it down. Now, I put the bean plant inside the coir just to give it a start, kind of like you would with rock wool. And then, of course, the dripper will just drip onto it to get it started. It's been going for about a week now, and I've got, well, you can see how tall it's gotten. It's really doing well already. It's interesting, though, that it grew out from the bottom side of the coir and is coming up. And so that's the basics on the bean and the tomatoes and the radish. So let me take you through the rest of the garden and show you each of the plants. I'll kind of show you how they're doing and tell you what I'm finding out. Okay, here's my regular garden. These are my collard greens. The leaves are very well. You can see some small brown dots on them. I think that's from the flying insects we've got here in the basement. I'm not sure. They seem to be growing fine, even though all the plants have those. I've got a plan to take care of those with a bug zapper here in the near future. The lettuce, I've cut off 5 or 6 different leaves, and it continues to grow. The leaves are very tasty, very good lettuce. Something that I may grow in abundance in the future. This is my kohlrabi. The center part where you cut off the actual, it's not a fruit, but where you cut off the edible part, it's actually starting to thicken up there, as you can see, and it's doing real well. This is where I picked the radish. I threw a potato in there. I figured, we'll see if it sprouts. If not, it'll rot. So if it starts rotting, I'll get it out of it. Here's my Brussels sprout, same as the kohlrabi. I left 2 plants in this one, and you can see that they're both starting to thicken up on the main vine where the buds of Brussels sprouts will start, where the little sprouts start. This is the turnip plant. Now, the turnip's been interesting. It's really green. The leaves curl just like the turnips do. They're good, strong leaves. They have the small spines on them, and they're a nice dark green. But the root doesn't seem to be thickening up. It's still very thin, almost like it's getting too much nitrogen. It's putting a lot into the green, but not into the root yet. This is my jalapeno pepper. It's actually doing pretty crappy. It hasn't done much of anything since it sprouted. It took a long time to sprout too. My cilantro is doing well. Now this side, I'm having some problems on this section with some leaf browning. There's some kind of a fungal or bacteria that's getting into the leaves on some of the plants on this side, including my pea plant. You can see it's browning along the edges there. It's still growing healthy, still moving, but a lot of the leaves have that. This bean plant is incredible. It is long. It's got to be 2.5 feet long, and it's less than a month old. It's really done well. Clear out to the tip there. It's a very healthy looking plant other than some browning on the leaves. The basil plant, same thing, growing healthy, but it's having some leaf curl. I'm assuming that it may be from too much moisture, but you can notice here, like with the oregano, you can see in the vermiculate down there that there is some mold. This is my eggplant. The eggplant has a lot of browning on the leaf, and I'm not too happy about it, but I'm not sure what's causing it. Same with the pea there, you can see. This is the serrano pepper. It's actually doesn't have any browning and is doing really well. It's a slow-growing plant in comparison with the others, but it seems to be doing real well. And last but not least, the beet plant, which has done nothing. It's pretty much the way it was when I first sprouted it. I think that some of these things are too wet. So that's my garden in a nutshell. One of the things that I'm seeing that is a downside to vermiculate, which is great. This is what the whole purpose of this was. So for those who watch, don't look at it as an accusation thing saying, oh, we told you so, but rather it's something that I wanted to learn and see and experiment with myself, and that was the purpose of this. I'm seeing that with the beet, particularly with the beet plant, with the jalapeno pepper plant, and with some of the herbs, that it's probably not the best idea to use vermiculate because of the amount of water that it retains. Even though I'm running fresh water through it on a regular basis, it just is too much retention around the roots, and I think that's creating some of my fungal problems. There's actually fungus on top of the vermiculate on almost all the plants, but some of the plants seem to not be affected by it. I'm going to experiment next. As the plants go away, I'm going to, as they grow and mature or die off, I'm going to start messing around with more of the clay pebbles and with some other mediums for growing and just see what works and what doesn't. As far as radishes go and root crops, you're kind of stuck having to use a finer medium like perlite or vermiculite just because, or sand even, just because they won't grow in those clay pebbles very well, and everybody knows that's kind of a problem. I'm very pleased with the way the radish grew in the vermiculate. If radishes were a crop that people were just dying for, like tomatoes or potatoes, something that was a big food crop that you just couldn't live without, vermiculate's the way to go. I'm convinced with them. However, and with lettuce as well. I'm thinking that some of the other crops, however, are going to do better. Some of the other plants are going to do better in a different type of medium. So it's been a good experiment so far, and I'll follow it through to the end. And then as I change over to different mediums or different setups, I'll continue to record it. I have some great ideas for this spring when I plant outside again, as well as some of the stuff that I'm going to do here on the inside. I've got to do a little bit of figuring on my power, and I'm going to try some different lighting and whatnot. So we'll be starting up some tomatoes and potatoes here in the basement in the very near future, and I'll keep everybody posted. If you got any questions, please ask them. If you have any comments or suggestions, I'm open to all that stuff. I love to have comments on my YouTube. It's like opening my mail. It's like open a present at Christmas. So go ahead and comment and throw out some ideas and some suggestions. And again, I appreciate all those who have subscribed and are following. Thanks.